Good evening, guys and girls. Hope everybody's doing well. Today I went for a walk around the Ayutthaya. There's a park in Ayutthaya. It's where I used to go running when I lived there. So I just went for a little walk around, made a little video about, oh my God, what did I talk about? So you can see there was a railing here. Look at this concrete here. See how thick that concrete is down there? And that was inside, and it's cracked and fell apart. All that concrete is broken up, and the side fell off. Now this place here is not old. You can look at the big thick cracks in the concrete. This place isn't that old. So, and I first noticed this when I lived in America. I built, in England I had a small house. Just like a 2-bedroom, little garden, made of brick. And the ground was pretty stable. It didn't move at all. Like here, the ground moves a lot because it's made of clay. So when the water comes, it gets soft, and then the sun comes, it gets hard, and so the house keeps moving. That's why everything cracks here so easy. So the point is, nothing stays the same. So the house in England was small. I fixed it up, and it stayed fixed. I lived there for 5 years or so. Fixed it one time, stayed fixed. So in America, I bought a house and started fixing that up. It took me a long time to fix it because it was even worse than the one I bought in England. So I did the house up, the one in America, started fixing it, got it up to speed, no problem. So the thing is, I built something there and fixed it and moved, built something, made it nice, moved to the next thing, made it nice. Then I realized, hey, I had to do some maintenance on these places. So when you build something, you have to allow time and money for maintenance. You can't just build it and forget about it. But here in Thailand, it seems like it's hotter and more wet. So I think that accelerates the decomposing, or it rains a lot here. It's tropical climate, so it rains a lot. It's hot. So I think that it increases the process of the thermodynamics, the second law of thermodynamics, by nothing stays the same, it starts to deteriorate. Like, like if you put a banana in the kitchen and leave it there, what happens to it? It'll go from green to yellow, start to get a few brown spots. That's when it's like perfect to eat, has the perfect flavor. And then if you don't eat it, it goes browner and browner, and then it'll go black and then start to get like a mold on it. So it's starting to die. Okay, so it grows on a tree and it starts to die. And that's the same with us too, But the one thing that doesn't die after all this is our spirit. The spirit lives on. Some people say the body is, the body will come and die. It comes and dies, but the spirit will live forever. Now, some people will say, I don't believe that. Some religions believe this, some religions believe that. I think, this is my personal opinion, I think religion oversteps their mark as far as a lot of things, and should mind its business more. You could say, oh, Christians will tell you that Christian belief system is the only way because, Jesus is the only way. But Christ is a spirit. The Christ Spirit, Holy Spirit, is a spirit. Is he the right way or the only way? It depends who you are and what you believe. But I don't know why people have to be so regimented and stiff when they can't open up their mind a little bit, and I'm getting to the point, so bear with me. The other day I was at a house and I was watching a couple guys playing cards. So what is the spiritual side? We rely on our 5 senses all the time, but we don't ever rely on our spiritual sense. So I was thinking, I wonder if I could guess the card that he's going to pick up next. So I could see what he picked it up and looked at it, and I could see what the card was. I wasn't playing, I was just watching. And I sort of tuned my head in, and I don't know how to explain how to do that. It's all I can do is do it. So it's not something you do with your mind muscle. It's a way of, I think actually it's just a way of turning your mind off, turning your conscious thought off, and you tune into something. And so I said 3 of hearts. He picked it up and it was the 3 of hearts. And I was like, whoa, crazy. So, but I thought it was very interesting. So can we tune that no thinking mind thing? Can we tune into that more and know things more? And it's, you know, I studied this for years and years and years, and come to the grand conclusion of I don't really understand any of it. And I really believe we're not supposed to understand with our conscious mind. We're just supposed to tune in and live there. And when you live there, you know everything. That's the consciousness, you know. So I'm not a PhD in all this stuff, but you know, psychonaut is you know, I explore the unknown as far as the spiritual. So, you know, if you look at these trees here, I have these trees in my garden, right? They're great for shade, and they don't need to water them, and they've lived there since, and they just keep growing. But you know, everything has a cycle. The blood cell, they say in 7 years our body reproduces itself. The shortest, I think, is a blood cell every 28 days, and the longest is a nerve cell, which takes 7 years to reproduce. So within 7 years our body completely reproduces itself. So what keeps the body looking the same after 7 years? Why can't you just change to a different person every 7 years? And I think it's like magnetism. You know, when you have a magnet and you put a piece of paper on it and sprinkle iron filings on it, what happens? It takes the shape of the magnetic field of the magnet, correct? Well, I believe that's the same as us. We have a magnet. I don't know if you call it a magnet, but I guess you could call it a biological, I don't know what you call it, biological field, biofield or something. That because you know, if you do what do they call it, Carillion photography, where you can take a picture of somebody's aura. So within the light spectrum or magnetic spectrum or electrical spectrum, that is us. The spirit of us is what keeps us looking the same as our body keeps reproducing itself. And then at the end of the cycle, whenever that is that bird? A little tiny one somewhere. So whenever it is your time, you know, if you don't eat right, if you have poor nutrition, then you're gonna, you know, what is death? It's the opposite of life. So if you give your body living foods, greens, sunshine, you know, vegetables and fruit. You know, I was a vegetarian for 4.5 years, and then I stopped because I got sick, and I thought it was that, but it wasn't. And I started eating meat again. But technically I didn't have to start. But every day I think, eat less and less and go back to being a vegetarian. Why? Because the animal suffered in its death, which has that energy. And there's people who argue to be vegetarian or not, but I lived 4.5 years as a vegetarian and I'm still here. The only time I noticed it, that it made me feel weak, is when I was doing lots of bodybuilding. It's the only time I really started to feel weak, because I think I wasn't getting enough B12. You know, I'm a white Caucasian, and I don't really understand it all, but that's what I did. So what is the point of all this? The main point of all this is, we're here for a period of time, and then everything decomposes. The second law of thermodynamics is it has its cycles, and then it will die, and we go on to the other side. But the spiritual side is what fascinates me. It's that biofield or magnetic field or something that keeps us looking the same and acting the same and being the same. So Look at this, just look, one more example, look. The whole balcony's gone. Don't open that door and walk out too fast. And all these places aren't that old. Now this, when I first come here, hardly any of these buildings were here. So you're talking like 4.5, 5 years ago. I guess if you don't maintain it, you see. So maintain your house, maintain your body. Everything has a season. And when that season's over, it starts to fall apart and goes back to its maker. So if you leave nature alone, I guess this is the point. If you leave nature alone, nature will overtake everything, break concrete, trees will grow through the cracks, and it'll just reabsorb everything back into the cycle. You know, if you don't cut the grass, trees will grow there, everything, so nature will take it back. You know, nature takes everything back and puts it back to the way it was before. It might take 100 years, but it'll crack it and break it, and trees growing. You see like, what's that temple called? There's a temple in Burma, forget the name of it now, where trees growing in through, you know, the roots will go right into the brick walls. I hope you can decipher all this mess. Just thoughts. Kevin's thoughts. Kevin in Paradise has thoughts. Okay guys, so I'm gonna shoot off and go home now. Hope you're doing well. All the best guys. Bye.